Hello and welcome to the channel. It's your favourite Scotsman here again. I'm thrilled to have you joining us today as we're going to dive into a topic that's often overlooked but incredibly important. The 6 big purchases that retirees almost always regret. Picture this. You've worked hard, saved diligently, and now you're ready to enjoy the fruits of your labour during your golden years. But as an advisor, I've come to realise something after guiding several clients into retirement. Some purchases are just not worth it when it comes to securing a worry-free retirement. That's why in today's video we're shining light in those tempting yet often regrettable purchases that can derail even the most sound retirement plans. We're going to start with a wee story about 2 former colleagues, Mike and Dave. Mike and Dave used to work side by side at the Honda plant in Alliston, sharing lunch breaks with a side of the usual workplace banter. They were good friends within the workplace. Dave had attended Mike's retirement celebration, but didn't stay in touch much after retirement. Fast forward a couple of years, and a chance encounter at Costco one day led to them getting together for a bite to eat and a couple of drinks. When they met, the first thing Dave noticed about Mike was the designer pants and blazer he was wearing, both of which cost more than their entire Costco bill, probably. Dave couldn't help but be a little bit surprised. It just wasn't the Mike he'd remembered. He always remembered Mike to be just a regular guy kicking about with his jeans and a t-shirt. Anyway, they continued on and had some lunch, paid their bills and walked out together to the car park. To Dave's surprise, Mike opened the door to what looked like to be a brand spanking new Range Rover with all the latest gadgets. A bit of a change from his old Dodge Caravan. Time marched on, life happened, and Mike and Dave didn't see much of each other after that. Fast forward a few more years, and Dave was talking to another old pal of his from the Honda plant who said, "You hear what happened to Mike?" To which Dave responded, "No, what?" Dave's friend filled him in. "Well, Mike blew his retirement savings and finds himself living in his daughter's basement. And here's the crux of the matter. Living lavish can strip away your savings like varnish. Mike's retirement savings, once a source of security, were swallowed by poor financial decisions. Unfortunately, this story is all too familiar. You scrape by and save all you can during your working years. Get a wee bit too excited about retirement and leave behind the saving strategies that got you there in the first place. Enjoy the fruits of your labour, sure, but don't be like Mike. Let's tuck in as we dive deeper into the 6 big purchases that retirees almost always regret and how you can toe the line between leisure and longevity. Number 1. Yep, you guessed it. Do some serious budgeting before even dreaming about how cool an expensive car would look in your driveway. I'm personally not a car guy, but I understand that others are passionate about hot rods. If it's important to you and you have the means to do it, then all the power to you. If it's not that important to you though, or it may potentially negatively affect you down the road, I'm sorry, my editor threw in this pun. Just take a pause and give it a second thought. You may get a thrill for a few weeks, but once that wears off, will the financial burden also wash away? Most likely not. In retirement, you have nobody to impress, and likewise, your family and friends couldn't care less what kind of car you drive. If they do, you probably want to reconsider who you devote your time to. Just a pit stop here while we gas up for the next point. If you're enjoying today's video and haven't already done so, please do consider subscribing to the channel. We would appreciate it and you'll be the first to know about future videos to help with your financial questions. Okay, back to what you came for. Regrettable purchase number 2 is along the same lines. Buying the dream house. Retirees typically look to downsize, but look, Toronto homeowners, I get it. Who would have thought your house would be worth what it is today? You could cash in, move north, and get a bigger place in a quieter town or city for the same money or even less. Remember though, that bigger houses come with steeper expenses, hydro, AC bills and property taxes depending on where you move. Just make sure that you factor all this into your calculations. The last thing you want during your retirement is to have monthly expenses that balloon to the point where you can't do all the other things that you plan to do in your golden years. Next up on the list is spending too much on vacations. Disney World with the grandkids is a hoot, but those mouse ears come with a cost. The first years of retirement can feel like a never-ending vacation, but endless expensive trips can create a serious crack in your nest egg. I'm not here to rip up your bucket list and tell you not to spend a month or two in Italy or in the Swiss Alps skiing and drinking hot chocolate on the top of a mountain, but practicing restraint can help secure future life experiences. You only get one life, after all, but with proper planning, you can absolutely have more than one vacation. Just be wary of this creeping up on you. It is true that most retirees spend more in the early years or go-go years of retirement, but excessive globe-trotting comes at a cost. Again, if you can afford it, then who am I to tell you not to see the world? It is important to live in the now, but if it comes at the cost of your future, it may be worth reconsidering. As an aside, the idea that travel is always expensive is a myth. Maybe consider a short-term rental or a budget hotel and shopping at the local grocery store instead of eating out, 3 meals a day. Although travel agents may be going the way of the dodo bird, they're still available to help you and find the best possible deals or cheaper alternatives within your budget. Alternatively, there are new online tools coming out almost every day to cross-reference costs. Just ask your grandkids, they seem to have all the tricks. Number 4 on the list is buying expensive gifts. It's nice to be nice. The smile on your kids' or grandkids' faces when you give them something unexpected is something that warms the heart. But don't let that smile come at the expense of your own future, or worse yet, theirs. There are probably more important ways you could help give your loved ones a head start in life. Like saving for education or making a down payment on a home. The latest iPhone is pretty nifty though, I get it. But you can find other ways to be impactful. The best things in life tend to be the little things. Dinners, coffee, going to see a movie together. What you're looking for is the connection that you create when you give the gift, not necessarily the price tag of the gift. And that moves us nicely onto number 5 on today's list, and that's regular cash gifts to family. Here at Beaches Financial Group, we are big believers in generosity. And if you can, being able to gift some of your wealth whilst you're still alive. At the end of the day, it would be nice to see your family enjoy some of your hard-earned money instead of getting a pile of cash once you're no longer here. Not to mention the tax implications, but that's a whole other discussion in itself. That said, if you're constantly dipping into your bank account to pay for major parts of your kids' life once they are well into adulthood, then take a step back for a moment. It's admirable that you want to help, but everyone has to stand on their own 2 feet at some point. Remember, supporting someone's growth looks very different than enabling their stagnancy. At the end of the day, you both run the risk of pulling up short. Last but not least on the list is buying a vacation home. This is a classic big retirement mistake. Spending winters in the south away from the cold Canadian winter is something most of us would be happy to get on board with. The way rental prices have gone lately, we can understand the urge to buy and cut out the recurring payments altogether. But that's not exactly how it goes. Think about it in terms of numbers. Don't fool yourself into believing that buying a place that you will only need for a few months of the year is a better option than renting. Why? Well, think about how much it costs to run your own home right now. Multiply that by 2. You may only be living there a few months of the year, but you're paying property taxes and utilities for 12 months. If you decide to purchase a vacation home, you also have to factor in the loss of liquid capital. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say you have a portfolio of 1.5 million to support your retirement and you purchase a vacation home for 500,000. You then only have $1 million to supplement your lifestyle, plus the added cost of another home to pay for. Of course, you could sell the home down the way, but That could be many years without access to that capital. Renting it out can help to offset some of the costs, but taking on the job of a landlord so soon into your retirement kind of defeats the purpose, no? The headaches themselves could be enough to put someone off the concept. You likely purchased a vacation home to use it during peak season, leaving the off season for renting. And that's before we get into the added issues of being a landlord. Before you jump into buying a vacation home, run all the numbers and have a clear plan laid out so you can be confident in your ability to make it work. The last thing you need to be is house rich and cash poor in retirement. So, my friends, those are our 6 that retirees almost always regret. If there's anything that you feel is missing from this list, feel free to mention in the comments section so everybody can benefit and learn from your wisdom. As much as I like to share knowledge, I love to learn even more. The key takeaway is that retirement is a time for enjoyment, relaxation and personal fulfillment. But it's crucial to strike a balance between enjoying the present and securing your future. By keeping a clear perspective on needs versus wants and staying vigilant about the financial implications, you can maximise your happiness and minimise the chances of regret associated with some of the purchases that we discussed today. Ultimately, making the most of retirement involves cultivating a sense of contentment and satisfaction that extends way beyond material possessions. Embracing experiences, building cherished memories, and investing in relationships often yield more lasting fulfillment than any material possession can provide. That's it for today, folks. If you enjoyed today's video, please do consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel so you don't miss another episode. Until next time, and don't forget, a good financial plan understands your goals, but a great one knows the motivations behind them.